This is Roger Hoover, now joined by ESPN college football analyst Kirk Herbstreit. And Kirk, roll tide. Welcome back to Tuscaloosa. How's it going?
Always great to be back here. It just brings back so many memories, of college game day and so many big games for the Crimson Tide. So it's rare to be here in the middle of the summer, but great to be here.
And when you do come back to Tuscaloosa, and as we mentioned, you've been coming for many, many years, just can you talk about the transformation that's happened for Alabama football, especially since Coach Saban took over?
If you just stand in the room that we're in right now, the locker room itself, just the growth of the program, the success, the city of Tuscaloosa, it looks like a different city. When you're an outsider and you only come in, a couple times maybe a year to see the growth and the restaurants and the economy just seems to be doing so well. So it's just weird to think. I remember coming here, I think it was Mike Shula was the coach. They were playing UCLA. One of my first times we came here, and to think about from that to where it is now, where the expectations are to win every game, and Nick Saban is, to me, the best coach in the history of college football and done so much of that while he's been here in Tuscaloosa. So it's cool. I'm a college football fan besides my job, and so I always love coming here.
What do you enjoy most about when you do have those opportunities to visit with Coach Saban, even in the off-season or if you're getting ready for a game?
Just how he teaches me. He's always been a teacher and just somebody like a mentor, really. Somebody that I really have always admired. And I'm an old school kind of a disciplinarian myself, so I'm drawn to him. I think for fans, they they're Alabama fans. They see him at a press spot or a press conference, and he's standing there. But I see him so different. I see him, as a friend. I see him as a guy that I can talk to. If I'm having an issue in my life, he's one of the first people that I would probably call because of how much his words mean to me, because he's not always going to tell you what you want to hear. He's going to tell you what he really thinks. And I'm just a big believer in wisdom and leaning on people like Nick Saban for advice and for guidance, because they've been through so much in their life. So, yeah, there's the Nick Saban, the coach, that we all bow down to, and then there's Nick Saban, the man, that I'm just really a big fan of. So yeah, he's probably my favorite coach that I've ever had the chance to cover.
All right, we saw you last week on the Pat McAfee Show talking about the Crimson Tide. It seems like you like this football team heading in. I think the words were a lock maybe for the national championship. Why do you like this team so much?
Well, I think it's just, if you look since he's been the coach, they come so close, and then they don't make the playoff. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's over. And then they go on to win a championship. Or they make the playoff and they get upset in a semifinal, and oh no, what's wrong? And then they come back. It's got an ebb and flow of it. Like, if you really go back and watch it, there's an ebb and flow to Alabama. And to me, when they lose and they come up short of the playoff last year, and then everybody talks about Kirby Smart and Georgia, which they deserve all the credit for what they've accomplished. Okay, there's a new sheriff in town that Bama's done. It's like, I'm not falling for it. When Nick Saban retires and he's done, then I'll look at Alabama maybe, and say, okay, what are they going to do now? But if he's still the head coach, right? Yeah. He's still as long as he's still the head coach, and they are coming off a quote unquote down year where they just didn't quite make the playoff, put me down for Alabama to bounce back this year. And I know they have quarterback issues. This is more of the psychological aspect of the game. I'm just a big believer that this team's going to be upset, and the coach is going to be upset. And when the head coach is upset, the coordinators are upset, the assistant coaches and the players. They're going to be an angry team this year, is my belief.
Why don't you go on this? You're in town to film some content with Devonte Smith, won the Heisman Trophy a few years ago playing wide receiver here. Just what do you enjoy most about watching his game? What was it like to interact with him today?
Always love to have a chance to catch up with him. He is just spectacular in his ability to make a big play in a big game, and do it in such a humble way. I think that's the thing that's always stood out to me. Is I've been around great players for the last 30 years. I mean, you see them and you admire them, but the style of which the way he got it done as a player at Alabama, and then to just act like he's just taking a walk in the park, just like so easy for him. And then when you talked with him, you'd think he was the last guy on the roster. He's not even the guy that he is. And so I just have such admiration and appreciation for who he is. And it was cool to catch up with him, and now he's doing great things for Philly. And think of this guy's career. Won a national championship during COVID, won a Heisman, won a Super Bowl. Pretty good life over the last 3 years from a man.
Absolutely. The same could be said about you. Kirk Herbstreit, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.